welcome to my channel. My name is Kelly, and this video I'm going to be talking about three ways in which astrology has supported me deeper into my purpose in life, has actually practically, tangibly, in a grounded way empowered me in the direction of my purpose. And I'll start by saying I am an astrologer, I work with human design, I'm an embodiment and somatic coach, and I love nothing more than supporting people into coming back to who they truly are, to understanding what it is that lights them up, how do they move through this world in an authentic way, and how to really activate and unearth their unique gifts, utilizing esoteric and embodied tools. And for me, I have been working with and living with astrology for over 10 years now. I was born in Salem, Massachusetts, and I remember from the age of a very young girl, probably 8 years old, I was always riveted by this art, and I had a deep familiarity with it. And it wasn't until I was about 18, 19 years old that I started deeply apprenticing and training with a mentor in the realm of Mayan astrology. But it's like a first language for me in many ways. It's a language of archetypal psychology. It's a language of mythos and symbolism, which I believe is something that is so empowering and expansive for the human psyche in a world where we are inundated with information, logic, rationale. Working with the realm of the mythic and the archetypal can really bring forth the best of us and can bring forth this soulfulness that is often underrepresented in many areas of life. And astrology can be used in a very embodied, grounded, and applied way. And it is used in more ways than you may think, across many different arenas of life, from the business boardrooms of the world to the corporate, CEOs of the world, to the metaphysical and astrological anatomy doctors of the world, and the farmers planting their crops with the cycles. It has been part of this Earth's wisdom for a very long time. And I believe that when we work with astrology in a way that is applied and embodied and honest and not getting too caught in the fluff of a pop horoscope, it can reveal a lot about our own trajectory, our own soulful purpose in the larger scheme of things, in the larger tapestry of life. So here are three ways that I've been empowered. 1, embracing my individuation. I work with a lot of clients in coaching containers where we weave in astrology, where we weave in embodiment, but really it's about supporting people to step into their highest expression, to move through the fears and the traumas and the blocks. It's a journey of becoming and unbecoming. And something that I have seen in my own journey in very painful, heartbreaking, but also liberating ways, and I see in many others, is that our gift often holds our greatest wound. And often it's the thing about us, or one of the things about us, that is our gift, and something that really is quite magical and unique to our soul, that can be kind of demonized or villainized or attract kind of negative perspectives. And I, my whole life, have been quite a independent creature. My 3rd grade teacher growing up, when she was giving the 3-year review of, to our parents or our guardians around what she saw in the child or whatever. She was an amazing teacher. Still love her so much to this day. She said, Kelly really holds her own frame. So she really holds her space. And that is a strong gift I have. I have an Aquarius moon. I have a very strong 10th house stellium. So 7 different placements, all in the sign of Scorpio, which is a fixed sign. I have Uranus and Neptune on my ascendant, which are quite revolutionary energies to have in how you present to the world. I'm a Capricorn rising. I definitely resonate with that lens of my astrological template, that I'm here to be someone who can really hold my own and really hold my frame and hold my space and know what I believe in and stand for what I believe in, even if it's a little edgy or a little off the cuff or a little revolutionary or surprising or shocking to some, or maybe even taboo or infamous. And although that has required me to face the more wounded aspects of that, there's a lot of beauty in that, and there's a lot of brilliance in that. But it's also a place where previously, in this decade of my 20s, I'm exiting my 20s in a few months, it has definitely been a source of a lot of wounding. It has been the source of like a lot of maybe judgment put upon me from even those I loved so near and dear. Judgments from people, you know, misinterpretations, maybe even a little bit of villainization or projection is that independence. And it's not even independence, it's like a heldness in my frame. It can also be like a little masculine presenting, right? Because it's got frame, it's got bone, you know, it's got a backbone to it. And, you know, there were certain parts of my journey where I definitely let myself cower, and I thought something was wrong with me. Like, oh, maybe I am too strong in my frame, and maybe I'm not supposed to be so, like, feel so powerful about what it is that I believe in and how I want to move through the world and what I want to serve and create and the kind of values and integrity I want to uphold, or the things I have to say. And that was a stint, you know, Saturn return. But I know that it's my gift, and astrology is something that really helped me go through the descent and the ascent into a right relationship with that part of me. So it really helped me understand, who am I here to be in the world? And although we're not here to be one thing, there are many clues in our astrological chart that can show dispositions, psychological dispositions that really suit our nature and really allow us to posture in a way that lets our authenticity come through, that deeply feeds us. And also for people who are, you know, receptive to it or meant to receive it, that's what they're looking for. And although people have left my life or people have put judgments on me maybe for my disposition, it's also been the thing that's opened so many doors to opportunities that were really great for me and places where that was revered and respected or you know, sought after. So working with astrology has definitely helped me on the path of my purpose, because it's taught me how I hold myself, and it's helped give me a reflection of how I hold myself. And this is something I think everyone has in their own unique way, especially through things like your rising sign, your 10th house, which is your public image, your midheaven. Second way that astrology has really supported me on my purpose is through having a contextual mirror to reflect back and play with the things that I'm so deeply riveted by and drawn to, right? Because I think we all have, unless they're kind of numbed out or frozen, and I've also deeply been through that journey of coming out of my phrase patterns. That's why I wanted to train in somatics when I did a few years back so deeply, because I knew that embodiment and somatic therapy was the missing piece to a lot of this, you know, work that can get very intellectual or spiritually narcissistic and heady, but like, okay, let's bring it back to the body. What's the body saying? Let the body lead. Bring it back into form. And I believe we all have things that deeply call to us or deeply excite us and entice us. And I for sure had my own, and these came into my life, right? I was aware of these before I even really started deeply studying astrology. There were things and topics and realms I was just so riveted by. And when I started working in a more applied, grounded, like intricate way with my astrology chart with several mentors over the last 10 years, I really could see through the reflection of my archetypes in my natal chart and like an affirmation and a validation of that which I already knew so deeply inside of me. And for me, purpose is not strictly narrowed to like what work you're doing in the world. I think if purpose and vocation can coalesce, that is brilliant. Like, who wouldn't want that? It doesn't always have to be that way, especially like in the times we're in now. I think sometimes a job is a job, but our purpose is the thing that is who we are. It's how we be. It's the deepest parts of us that they express through us. It's what we're in devotion to. And it is something that speaks through you when you tend to it and when you feed it and cultivate it. And it grows you deeply. I believe that us leaning into purpose, or at least for myself, for me, leaning into purpose is leaning into the things that make me expand and make me grow from the depths of me. Not just like gathering a lot of information, but what's the stuff that when I immerse in it, or I learn it, or I study it, or I go and take courses, or I'm applying it in my life and my relationships, like I feel like a greater version of myself. And astrology offered and offers powerful affirmation and validation to those things that I feel, 90% of the people I work with, they're already quite intuitive about what it is they really want and what it is that really moves them. But there's a lot of doubt, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of voices people are carrying around of what their mother said or their father said or society says or an old boyfriend said or an old girlfriend said. And it's like having a very powerful objective mirror that can offer back a reflection to you, right? Like through your cosmos, like through your cosmic blueprint is powerful, and it's incredibly validating. And it's not, you're not beholden to it, it's not an outsourcing, but it is a powerful map. And it's a powerful map that can reflect back to your truth, that can help you see yourself more clearly, and can, I find, assist people to stepping into more like conviction and ownership of what they really want and how they really want to move through life and what they really want to prioritize. So second way that astrology has really helped me with my purpose is through affirmation, validation, and conviction. The third way that astrology has really supported me to walk my path of purpose in this life is through transits. Right? And some of these were in foresight and some of these were in hindsight. Transits is like the second step of astrological immersion. You have your natal chart, which I would say is the first step. That's the configuration of the 12 houses and the constellations as they're, aligned in the sky on the moment, time, location of your birth. Where do those constellations sit within the 12 house wheel of your natal chart and the degrees that they form, the angles they form with other planets. That's like your archetypal blueprint, right? That's like your mythical psychology that is inlaid the moment you're born. And second step is transits. So just because you have a birth chart doesn't mean it's a static thing. It's evolving and shifting and growing as you are and as the world is. And when certain transits hit, right? Let's say you have like a Uranus transit happening in your chart. Uranus is a very Promethean-like planet. It's, rebellious. It's bringing fire to the humans to open up new levels of consciousness, right? If you know the myth of Prometheus, stole fire from the gods to illuminate human consciousness in their next step of evolution. That's what Uranus does. It wants to ignite our consciousness into the next level of evolution in whatever way that is for us personally, and I believe in contribution to a larger collective. It's not just our own, it's something that we're a part of, but I won't get too far out here. Personal transits can really highlight what you're going through in specific chapters of your life. Like, for example, I am currently about, maybe over midway through my Saturn return. Saturn cycles come every 28 to 29 years, and Saturn is like a very sobering, rigidifying, frame building planet. It wants to really anchor you into your integrity and anchor you into your power and authority and weed out the places where that's not operating fluidly, that's not operating in its highest expression. So it can be a little bit of a hard knock time, but also a very powerful time for rising up. And I don't necessarily believe that everyone needs to know about their astrology, but I do think it's a really powerful tool if people choose to lean into what it offers. So for me, knowing I've been in this time, there are certain ways that I have adjusted my life and I've deepened in certain practices, like my spiritual practice, to really receive what this time has for me. And certain boundaries I have elicited in my life, and a certain like containment and refinement around what I'm engaging with, what I'm saying yes to, what I'm bringing into my world, what I'm still allowing in my world, so that I can be like very clear and direct with how I'm showing up and not having any excess or any energy leaking out or any like unnecessary distractions, because Saturn does not like distractions. And there are some things, previous to maybe this year coming into my life, there were things I was still holding on to in business and creation and my mindset and beliefs, and certain friendships or relationships I was still allowing to be around that weren't really serving me moving into the next chapter of my life. And knowing that I was in Saturn return, one, I had some awareness that it's a little bit of a stark, heavy, dense time, and I was able to and I'm able to remind myself to be graceful and compassionate with it, because it is crunchy and it's gnarly and it's definitely a fortifying time, and also to align my life accordingly so that I can be receptive and ready for this next chapter, this next 29-year cycle, and be clear and ready for it. Because, and I'm not saying any of this like as a personal judgment on anybody, but this is just a human quality, right? Like you see some people, maybe people we know from childhood or family members, right? Like they just repeat the same cycles, and they're arguably, aside from some life experiences, maybe like at the same, somewhat the same level of consciousness that they were at 28, they're at like 60 years old. And we don't have to do any of this, right? It's like, it's free will, I believe, to an extent. It's free will. We get to choose to utilize tools for self-reflection, awareness, growth, meaningful service and contribution, thinking bigger than ourselves, and also doing the work we need to do within ourselves to grow and heal and evolve and offer what we have to the world. But I knew coming into Saturn return that I needed to like clean up some areas of my life and kind of strip it to the bare bones so that I could really see what I was working with and move with like a clear eye and without too many impediments of like the past. So these are 3 ways that astrology has really supported me on my journey of discovering, walking, and living with purpose. I would highly recommend reading your astrology chart, you know, or just looking at the planets you have in different signs. You know, what's your Mars sign? What's your Venus sign? There are some placements in a chart and houses in your chart that really reveal like powerful information around a sense of destiny. Like, what is it that your soul really wants to achieve in this lifetime on like a deep level? What is it that lights you up? What is it that is like part of your purpose? And again, like big P purpose, you know, capital P. Not necessarily like, oh, it's my purpose. And, you know, it doesn't have to even necessarily be a paid monetized thing. It doesn't have to be your work. It can be, but it's like, what did you really come to grow in on a deep, deep level? And I know that feeling, and I trust that other people feel that feeling. And you know, I'm surrounded by people who know that feeling, purpose in the sense of like, when you do it, it's like it's feeding this beautiful, like God-sized hole in your heart of like, oh, that's it. Like, that's it. And for some people, it could be work and vocation. For some people, it could be like growing vegetables in their garden, right? It's like, it's all archetypal, it's all contextual. But I believe we all have purpose, and I believe that working with mythos and archetypes is such a powerful way to breathe soul back into our lives, where we have become, I believe, as a society, so run down by such important but like often disempowering structures of capitalism, patriarchy, consumerism, fast culture, producing, and working with mythos and elementals and archetypes can bring the life back to it, can bring the soulfulness back to it, and can help our consciousness through that evolve to the next level. So if you want to do any of that type of work, I would love to be your guide. I do human design and astrology readings specifically for your purpose path. I also do one-on-one mentoring and coaching, which I love doing. These are longer form containers where I really get to get inside your world and support you on a journey of transformation with all of the tools that I have worked with myself and with many others and love to work with in those kinds of spaces. So reach out if you're curious. And if not, I hope you like this video. Let me know your thoughts below if you have any requests for future topics, and hope to see you back here for another one. Bye.